Waking up early in the morning is not merely a lifestyle choice or a productivity hack. It is a profound spiritual awakening and a fundamental alignment with the natural laws of the universe. To understand the power of the dawn, one must first recognize that the first hour of the day is the rudder that steers the ship of your life. If you win the morning, you win the day. If you lose the morning, you spend the rest of your hours chasing a sense of control that you have already surrendered. Part 1, the call of the dawn. The struggle begins the moment your eyes crack open and the cold reality of the morning hits you. There is a voice in your head, a soft, seductive, and dangerous voice that tells you to stay under the covers. It tells you that you are tired, that you deserve more rest, and that the world can wait another 30 minutes. This is the first battle of the day. It is a spiritual confrontation between your lower self, which seeks comfort and stagnation, and your higher self, which seeks growth and purpose. When you hit the snooze button, you are not just getting more sleep. You are practicing procrastination. You are telling your subconscious mind that your goals, your prayers, and your connection to the divine are less important than a few more minutes of unconsciousness. Spiritually, the hours before sunrise are known in various traditions as a sacred window. In the East, it is called the Brahma Muhurta, the time of the Creator. It is believed that during these hours, the atmosphere is charged with a specific type of purity and peace. The collective noise of humanity, the stress, the anger, the frantic thoughts of millions of people is quiet. In this silence, you can hear the whisper of your own soul. When the world is asleep, the veil between the physical world and the spiritual realm is at its thinnest. This is why the greatest saints, thinkers, and leaders throughout history have all shared this one common habit. They claim the dawn. From a scientific perspective, waking early aligns your biology with the circadian rhythm, the internal clock that governs every cell in your body. When you rise with the sun, your body releases cortisol in a natural, healthy way to give you alertness, while your brain is still in a state of neuroplasticity, making it the perfect time for deep learning and spiritual contemplation. By ignoring this natural rhythm, you create a disharmony within yourself that leads to anxiety and fatigue. The morning is also a metaphor for life. Every morning is a minor resurrection. You close your eyes in a state resembling death, and you are granted the miracle of another day. To wake up early is to show gratitude for that miracle. It is an act of saying, I am ready to use this gift. This intentionality transforms your energy. Instead of being jolted awake by an alarm and rushing into a state of reaction, checking messages, reacting to news, and hurrying to work, you enter the day as a proactive force. You are the architect, not the victim. To master the early morning, you must understand that the call of the dawn actually begins the night before. You cannot respect the morning if you do not respect your rest. Waking up early is an act of discipline that requires you to sacrifice the empty entertainment of late-night scrolling for the profound fulfillment of early morning stillness. It is about realizing that nothing happening on a screen at 11 p.m. is more important than the conversation you will have with your Creator at 5 a.m. As you step out of bed while the world is still dark, you are entering a sanctuary. The air is cooler. The birds are beginning their hymns, and the light is soft. In this space, you are free from the roles you play. You are not a boss, an employee, a parent, or a student. You are simply a human being in the presence of the infinite. This part of the script is your invitation to stop surviving and start prevailing. The dawn is calling you not to work harder, but to live deeper. It is calling you to reclaim your sovereignty and to realize that the most powerful version of yourself is waiting for you in the quiet, golden hours of the morning. Once you have conquered the sheets and stood up in the darkness of the early morning, you have won the first battle. But the journey has only just begun. Waking up early is the physical act. Being awake is the spiritual one. Part 2 of this journey is about what you do with this stolen time. This is the stage where you build your inner sanctuary, a fortress of the mind and soul that no external chaos can penetrate. If part 1 was about the discipline of rising, part 2 is about the art of being. Most people spend their lives in a state of mental homelessness. They are constantly pushed and pulled by the demands of others, the notifications on their phones, and the anxieties of the future. By waking up early, you give yourself the rare gift of solitude. In this solitude, you are not lonely. You are communing with the deepest parts of your existence. This is the victory hour, a sacred 60 minutes where you are the priority. This is the time to build a ritual that nourishes the 3 pillars of your human experience: the body, the mind, and the spirit. The first pillar of your sanctuary is the spirit. Before you speak to any human being, speak to the divine. Whether you call it prayer, meditation, or deep reflection, this is the moment to align your compass. In the stillness of 5 a.m., your ego is less noisy. The I that wants to brag, the I that feels offended, and the I that is afraid are all still half asleep. This allows your true essence to emerge. When you sit in silence, you are clearing the windshield of your soul. You are letting the mud of yesterday's trouble settle to the bottom of the lake so the water become clear again. Ask yourself, what is my purpose today? How can I serve? How can I be better than I was yesterday? The second pillar is the mind. The early morning is the time of the alpha brain state, where you are highly creative and receptive. This is not the time for mindless consumption. It is the time for intentional nourishment. Read a book that challenges your perspective. Study a sacred text that anchors your morals, or write in a journal to externalize your internal world. Journaling is a spiritual exercise in itself. When you put pen to paper in the morning, you are performing a brain dump. You are taking the swirling clouds of anxiety and pinning them down to the page where they lose their power over you. You are mapping out your intentions. A day without a plan is a day lived for someone else's goals. In your inner sanctuary, you design your day so that you are walking a path of your own making. The third pillar is the body. Your body is the temple that carries your soul through this earthly experience. To wake it up with movement, whether it is stretching, walking, or intense exercise, is to tell your biology that you are alive and ready. Movement at dawn breaks the stagnation of sleep. It flushes your system with oxygen and endorphins, creating a natural high that will sustain you when the stress afternoon arrives. You are not just building muscles or flexibility, you are building the will to endure. Every push-up or every mile run in the dark is a deposit into the bank of your self-confidence. The magic of the inner sanctuary lies in the concept of filling the cup. Imagine your energy and patience as a cup. Throughout the day, people will come to you, your family, your boss, your friends, and they will all take a sip from your cup. If you do not fill that cup in the morning through prayer, movement, and study, you will be empty by noon. You will become irritable, reactive, and tired. But when you spend your morning in your sanctuary, you fill your cup until it overflows. When you step out into the world, you are not asking for energy, you are giving it. You are not seeking peace, you are bringing it. Furthermore, this time allows you to practice the power of gratitude. Gratitude is a spiritual frequency. When you start your day by counting your blessings in the quiet of the dawn, you change your internal magnetism. Instead of looking for what is wrong with the world, your brain begins to scan for what is right. You realize that the very breath in your lungs is a miracle. You realize that having a roof over your head and a day of opportunity ahead of you is a wealth that many would die for. This shift in perspective is the ultimate protection against the cynicism of the modern world. Building this sanctuary requires a ruthless protection of your borders. Treat your morning ritual as an unbreakable appointment with the most important person in your life, yourself. This means no emails, no news, and no social media. The world can wait 60 minutes. If you give the world your first hour, you have given away your power. If you keep it for your sanctuary, you reclaim your life. This is where you become unshakable. When you finally walk out your front door, you aren't just going to work, you are walking out of a fortress you built with your own hands and heart. You are ready. The final stage of the early morning journey is the transformation of the self into a beacon for others. If the first part was about the discipline to rise, and the second part was about the ritual of the sanctuary, the third part is about the integration of this power into your entire life. Waking up early is not an isolated event. It is the first domino in a sequence that changes your character, your destiny, and the legacy you leave behind. This is where the spiritual meets the material in a ripple effect that touches everything you do. The alchemy of character, the most profound change happens within the invisible walls of your character. When you consistently wake up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m., you are practicing a form of voluntary suffering. You are choosing what is difficult over what is easy. This builds a specific type of spiritual muscle known as fortitude. In a world that is obsessed with instant gratification and comfort, the early riser is a R. Evil. This discipline bleeds into every other hour of your day. You find that because you conquered the temptation to sleep, you now have the strength to conquer the temptation to eat junk food, to lose your temper, or to waste time. You become a person of your word. You told yourself you would wake up, and you did. This builds an unshakable foundation of self-trust. Most people are unhappy because they constantly lie to themselves. They make promises they don't keep. The early riser keeps the first and most important promise of the day, creating a psychological momentum of integrity, the expansion of time. There is a mathematical miracle in the morning. When you wake up 2 hours before the rest of the world, you gain 14 hours a week. Over a year, that is 728 hours, equivalent to 30 full days of waking time. While the rest of the world complains that there isn't enough time, you have effectively gifted yourself an extra month of life every single year. Spiritually, this is the concept of barakah, or divine blessing in time. You notice that work which used to take 5 hours now takes 2 because your mind is sharp and uninterrupted. You are no longer busy, you are effective. This extra time allows you to pursue your higher calling, writing that book, building that business, or deepening your religious studies without taking away from your family or your health. You stop living in a state of emergency and start living in a state of mastery. The spiritual beacon. We do not become better versions of ourselves just for our own sake. We do it because the world needs people who are awake. When you transform your life through this morning discipline, you become a living invitation to others. Your family notices your newfound peace, your colleagues notice your clarity, your friends notice your energy. You begin to operate on a higher frequency. Because you have spent your morning in prayer and silence, you carry a scent of tranquility with you. When chaos hits the office or the home, you are the one who remains calm because you have already faced the internal chaos of the morning and mastered it. You become a steward of peace. Your life becomes a testament to the idea that humans are not meant to be slaves to their biological urges, but masters of their divine potential, the final surrender. Ultimately, waking up early is an act of surrender to the rhythm of the Creator. It is an acknowledgement that you are part of a larger cosmic harmony. The sun does not struggle to rise, and the birds do not struggle to sing. They simply fulfill their nature. By rising early, you are fulfilling yours. You are aligning your heartbeat with the heartbeat of the universe. As you look back on a life built on a foundation of sacred mornings, you won't remember the extra sleep you missed. You will remember the sunrises that took your breath away, the prayers that gave you strength in your darkest hours, and the quiet moments of clarity that defined your greatest successes. You will realize that by waking up early, you didn't just add hours to your day. You added life to your years. The dawn is a gate. Every morning, you stand before it with a choice. You can stay in the dream of the bed, or you can wake up and build the dream of your life. Choose the light. Choose the dawn. Choose to live.